As the founders of Surefoot, Bob and Russ Shea are obsessed with creating the perfect ski boot for you because they know that a properly fitted custom ski boot will make you a better skier, whatever level you're at. Surefoot, better fitting, better skiing.
We're stoked to have you back with us. This is our fourth year of this show, the second as the Freeride Guide. And if you haven't yet and you're just finding us, please make sure you're subscribed if you're watching on YouTube or if you're listening on your favorite podcast app. Make sure you're following along, and please do us a favor and hit that 5-star review. We'd really, really appreciate it. Because we got a lot of cool stuff coming, and we're really excited to keep growing this awesome freeride community. All right, so getting into this season, what you can expect is, of course, full recaps of all the events between myself and Derek. We're going to have some special guests this year as well, current and former Freeride World Tour athletes, as well as special guests that may just come out of left field that we want to have a chat with. And of course, we're going to be doing our backslap segment once again, where we read your emails. So if you agree with what we have to say, if you want to give us a high five, if you want to call us out on something that we really missed the boat on, like if we missed a take, if we blew it, if we did something great, we did something not great, but you want us to hear about it, or if you have a thought or an idea or an opinion, maybe that we haven't even thought about yet, we want you to send it in to backslap@freerideguide.com, where we will read an email or two every episode. And I think we're going to get some cool stuff to send out to the emails that we read online. So we want you to participate with us once again this year. All right, so where are we going to start? I think we should get started with some of the news over the summer, because there's a lot going on in the Freeride World Tour. As you may know, a couple of years ago, Foose bought the Freeride World Tour, and this is a step towards the Freeride World Tour potentially becoming an Olympic sport. I know Nicholas Hale Woods, the founder of the Freeride World Tour, that's his ultimate goal. That's his dream. So this is a big step towards that. So another big step was taken over the summer. In June, Foose officially approved freeride skiing and snowboarding as an official discipline in the International Ski and Snowboard Federation. So freeride achieves official status, which is a game changer. So one, it's a historic recognition. It's officially recognized by Foose. Basically another step towards becoming an Olympic sport, as I mentioned. And this definitely helps a lot of the athletes with funding, because now it's officially recognized within Foose. And up until now, a lot of these nations, specifically say Australia, maybe even Canada, I don't know the exacts, but now that it's an officially recognized sport that could potentially lead to the Olympics, this opens the door for funding from these countries for these athletes, which is a huge, huge, huge first step. Oh, here's another thing too. The Freeride World Championships will now be included in the Foose framework. All right, let's get to that. The Foose Freeride World Championships. Those were announced this summer as well. So the Freeride World Championships are launching in 2026, so not this season, but next season, in February in Andorra. So this event marks the official integration of freeride into Foose as a recognized winter sports discipline. So the inaugural edition will take place in Andorra from the 1st to the 6th of 2026, featuring the world's top riders competing on the renowned and challenging terrain of Ordino Arcalís in the Pyrenees. So we've got some world championships coming up. We're going to dive into that a little deeper in another episode when I've got Derek back here, because I think he's got a little bit more insider information on that, because he has to deal with the athletes himself. So he's going to have a better idea of exactly what it is that they're trying to do. But there's going to be the Freeride World Tour champion, and then there's going to be a world champion, which is connected but different, if that makes sense. Kind of bringing it on par with the Foose with fist competition, right? You can have a Crystal Globe winner who's the overall champion, and then you can get the world champion because there's a world championships. All right. Thank you, Surefoot, for sponsoring the Freeride Guide. You want comfy feet while you're going skiing? Stop by Surefoot. They'll make sure it happens. Okay. Next up, there's another bit of news here too, is the Challenger Series has changed a little bit. They've added events in Region 1, which is Europe, Oceania. It says here, get ready for the ultimate freeride showdown. The Freeride World Tour is proud to unveil the FWT Challenger BioRage 2025 calendar. It's got 9 stops this year instead of 6. So in Region 1, as I said, kicking off in January this year. So basically, this is like a minor leagues, right? So with the FWT and the Challenger for the last couple of years, all the athletes that missed the cut after the first 3 events would then be relegated down to the Challenger Series. And a lot of the athletes that are competing on like the 4-star circuit, they would meet, and then the best of the best would find out who gets back to the Freeride World Tour. So this year, I think they've just made the Challenger Series a little bit bigger, specifically in Europe, Region 1. And it's going to be throughout the winter as well. So I think they're kind of like fine-tuning the 4-star series. And then in Region 2, the Americas, 3 stops once again, which will be starting in March, which is organized by the IFSA. And they've got, I think, 2 or 3, I think they have 2 of the venues locked down, and 1 is still to be determined. And that actually runs, I think, almost into April. Oh, one other thing that I took note of, which I thought was pretty cool, is that China has dipped their toe into the freeride pool, and they've hosted a qualifier event. A recent FWT qualifier event in Himu. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Huge success. It ended up selling out with 120 riders entering. So that's pretty neat to see a whole new market that hasn't really been touched upon kind of enter free riding. And now that we're on our path to the Olympics, I think we're going to see a handful of Chinese riders coming out of the woodwork or out of the gymnastic camps. All right, so let's get to our 2024 recap and get into the 2025 calendar. So if you want a really full, in-depth recap of 2024 season, go back and listen to our final episode of FRG, the Freeride Guides 2024 season, where Derek and I did kind of a full breakdown of all the events throughout the season. But to get you up to speed, last year they had 6 stops planned, but unfortunately Baqueira and Andorra had to be canceled. They adapted, as I mentioned earlier, and added the Verbier Pro event at the beginning of the season to kind of save losing two events. They managed to replace it with 1 in Verbier, which works out great because they've been doing events in Verbier for 30 years now. So they were able to, within a week, make it happen. It was a fantastic event. So last year, Georgia was added as well, which meant 6 events. That's originally what they had planned. Because 2 got canceled, 1 got added. It was back to its regular 5-event format, which we've been seeing for the last few years, which meant 3 stops before the cut, not 4. So this year, we're really excited about having that full slate of events. 6 full events. You can get 4 comps under your belt that you get an opportunity to get your best score so you can move on to the cut. So when the cut is at 4, and you have 2 great events and 2 poor events as an athlete, it's a lot better. It's a lot easier to sleep at night knowing that you might be able to get through than if the cut's after 3. Because if you only have one good comp, well, you're pretty much got your fingers crossed and you're waiting for someone else to make a mistake. So you basically want to create your own luck. You don't want to wait for someone else to decide your fate. All right, so let's get to the 2025 events of the 18th FWT season. They've got 6 planned again this year. So stop 1, Baqueira Beret by Movistar. January the 16th to the 23rd is the weather window. But if I were you, I would expect it to happen on the 16th. And I'll tell you what, probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite, event that I've been to. The crowd in Spain was bonkers. It was like I was in a stadium. So much energy. People were so fired up. It's obviously the home of Abel Moga, who has got an event wild card for this event. Maybe he'll try another massive front flip off of a cliff. We'll see what happens. Aymar Navarro, legendary FWT rider, is from there as well. He had his farewell event there, and it was mind blowing. Really, really fantastic. So that's a great one to watch, a great one to be at if you get the opportunity. Stop number 2 is a new event on the calendar, Val Thorens Pro, which is January 27th to the 1st of February. The FWT is returning to France for the first time since 2017. Val Thorens is nestled in the world-famous Les Trois Vallées ski area. And it offers an exciting new challenge to the riders with the iconic Cime Caron towering over the resort. Now, I'm assuming that's the name of the face. I don't really know much about it, but I'm excited to see where that goes. Stop number 3 comes back here to Canada, the Kicking Horse Golden BC Pro from February the 7th to the 13th. And we're hoping it's going to be on the ozone face this year. It seems to leapfrog. Some years the ozone hasn't been good to go. Some years it is. Last year it didn't go. We had brought it over to T1, which ended up working quite well. The year before, it worked out fantastically. If you'll remember, Max Hitzig's unbelievable, massive floaty backflip, which won him the event. Happened on the ozone face. I will hopefully be there on the microphone announcing live at the bottom of the face, because I love Kicking Horse and it's a good time. So if you're there, swing by and come and say hi. Stop number 4. Stop number 4 is going to be on the 23rd of February to the 1st of March. And we're back to Georgia. So Georgia was introduced to the FWT last year, and at Tenoldi, I think I'm saying that right. It was beautiful, but I heard that it was an absolute mission to get there. So, it takes a long time to get there, but it was beautiful. The comp was fantastic, and we'll see what happens there. The Kakiani face. With 350 meters of vertical descent, steep pitches, and natural obstacles that challenge athletes to display their finest free ride skills. We've got the cut, and then we go to Fieberbrunn, March 8th to the 13th. The Vilsey Loader, the legendary Vilsey Loader face. It's just one of the classic venues for the Freeride World Tour. So stop 6 is the Yeti Extreme Verbier by Honda, March 22nd to the 30th. The Freeride World Tour culminates at the legendary Bec des Ros in Verbier, Switzerland, the most prestigious and challenging stop of the season. Celebrating its 30th anniversary in 2025, the Yeti Extreme Verbier has become synonymous with freeride excellence. It's a spectacular venue. It really is. And even as historic and legendary as it is, events like last year's, you still see things that are new. On a face like that, where it doesn't seem like there's anything left to name, as you know, if you've listened to this show, if you do something first or you send off something first, you get to name it. It gets named after you. Well, we had some new names come up last year. And if you want to watch that again, I would go to the Freeride World Tour website and watch the replay, which you can do for all the events. And when we start doing our recaps, if this is new to you, I suggest going online and watching along, because we do. When we're talking about the event, we'll pull it up on the computer, and you can actually zoom in on all the individual riders' runs. It's pretty awesome. So go check that out at freerideworldtour.com. So that is the schedule for this year. And I am, for one, looking very forward to it. So I think that pretty much covers the start of things here. I think the next episode that you hear is going to be the recap for the Baqueira Beret event, unless something goes terribly sideways, which it can because it's the Freeride World Tour. We'll also have the wild cards, basically the athletes, wild cards, rookies returning, injuries, all of that information, all that news we're going to get to shortly here as well. So welcome back to the Freeride Guide. We're glad that you're here, and you'll be hearing from both of us again very, very soon. Hey, Derek, what's happening? I just told everybody that you were on your way, so hopefully you've made it. Looks like you've made it. Where are you now?
We have arrived. Yep, it was a bit of a grind getting from Kappel in Austria here to Baqueira Beret in Spain. Planes, trains, and automobiles, literally. But yeah, full day of travel, and we're here now and ready to go.
Fantastic. So let's get right into it because I know you've got a ton of going on. But you were in Kappel for the FWT Juniors. What's that all about? Talk about what happened there this year.
Yeah, Freeride Junior World Championships. Kids from all over the world meeting up in Kappel for a Freeride World Tour style event. It's visual inspection, it's Region One judging, it's yeah, kids from everywhere. There were Argentinians, Aussies, Kiwis, and then kids from I guess the more established freeride nations, France, Switzerland, of course, Canada, and the U.S. Italians. It was awesome. It's such a great opportunity for these young freeriders to come together and just absolutely send it.
Is there a reason why they do the World Championships like in January rather than say at the end of the season?
Yeah, the schedule. The schedule is the reason. The competition schedule on both sides of the planet just gets busier and busier and busier. And on the North American side, finishing with the Junior Freeride Championships at the beginning of April. So there's just nowhere else to put it, really. And it's also when works for Kappel. They're a huge partner in this. Like they're giving accommodation to every rider and a plus one, as well as lift tickets, as well as food, so we got to fit in the village of Kappel, and that's a time when it works. So yeah, it's a bit weird having the championships like in early January based off of last season's seeding and results. But it's kind of one of those things that like let's get it in where it fits.
Yeah, fair enough. And I guess that first week after Christmas is the best if you're giving away a bunch of free rooms. That's when that's when travel is probably the lowest, right?
Exactly, exactly. So the village is quiet and they just fill it up with all these young wingnuts that are ready to get after it.
Yeah. So how was it? How was the comp this year? How'd it go
It
off? What was the
was
conditions like?
insane powder conditions. We had a few days where it was snowing every night, and the free skiing beforehand was spectacular, like literally champagne powder. And then yeah, it was. I describe it as settled powder. It was a little bit more dense than it was in the previous days, but it was deep and it was soft and it was awesome.
It's
The kids were hyped on the conditions
a
for
little
sure.
more dense. That's like stomping snow.
Yeah, kinda. It also turned out to be front punching snow for a
Mm.
lot of the field. The Capel venue has some really good takeoffs with really flat landings, and when you combine that with teenagers that are maybe not all the way developed in the old frontal cortex and powder, it leads to. I mean, it was a heck of a show, man. The kids went off, but the stomp rate was low.
Oh, well, that just separates the cream of the crop, the cream from the crop. Like
Yeah,
isolates
yeah,
the
it's
cream of the
separate.
crop
Yeah.
is probably how to say it.
Yeah, it
um,
was it was probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 80% crashing. But the thing is about World Championships is this event's not connected to any series, so nobody's there to play it safe. And especially when you get soft snow, like these are young, talented, hungry kids, and they're just absolutely sending for glory. So there was a lot of recklessness, but all safe. Everybody was was intact at the end of the event, so all good. And yeah, three categories out of four won by Team France this year. So the Frenchies are doing something right because they absolutely lit it up out there.
Wow. The in the past with say like Max Palm and like Marcus Gogan on the men's ski side specifically, the World Junior Championship was kind of an opening door to the Freeride World Tour where they got the opportunity to come in and compete as a wild card. Marcus specifically getting a spot on the tour. Anything like that happening this year? Do you think?
I mean, I don't know. I haven't been involved in those discussions, but the kid Kia Krechen who won snowboard men has won it now three times in a row. So
Right.
that is a really impressive feat to be able to come and back to back to back repeat or three-peat as junior world champ. Yeah, it was really impressive. The level of riding is through the roof. There was a lot of chatter about Marcus, about doing the Gogan, like the big giant 360 into that Capel half pipe. And a whole bunch of kids definitely gave it their best shot. The kid who won, I mean, we'll have to see if we can put them side by side, but pretty close to as big as Marcus went in his winning run there. And then also threed the bottom air huge and stomped that too. So yeah, the level was high.
We're
So
going to be
ski,
seeing that guy a lot in the future. I'm sure. Then, hey.
yeah, Noah Pizarat was the ski men's winner. Another young French shredder, so strong, so good, and he dropped last, like the very last person of the very last category of the day, and put down like a clear and obvious winning run. So that was pretty sick.
Oh wow, that's awesome. So yeah, we'll have to keep our eyes open for some of these up and coming shredders. I know that you've got your finger on the pulse as the coach of the Whistler Free Ride Club, so you kind of see these kids and get to know them and have that inside track.
Totally.
Might come in handy on that fun bet in the
Yeah,
future.
yeah, big time. But yeah,
um,
impressive all around. Ski women, Hannah Baldwin out of Snowbird, Utah, coached by former tour rider and brand new World Tour judge Jacqueline Pollard. So Jacqueline was real stoked with that.
oh,
And
is
Hannah,
she on the FWT as a judge this year?
she sure is. Yep,
No
yep. We
way. Is she
traveled
moving?
together from Capel.
Oh, terrific. That's news I haven't heard yet. And I don't think the FWT has released. So maybe we've got a little exclusive here. Is she replacing anyone specific or is she being
Uh,
added?
yeah, Michelle Manning wasn't able to come back, so J. Paul got the call up to the big leagues, and yeah, she's going to be starting her World Tour judging journey here.
Oh, fantastic. And I guess now that her brother isn't on the tour, he bowed out and had his retirement. I guess there's no conflict of interest there anymore.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't think that would have worked with Andrew skiing in the field, but with
Can you imagine?
yeah.
I would have.
Yeah.
What do you mean he got a 9.8? Well, that's cool. That's good to know. I'm glad that Jacqueline's back and the FWT family. That's pretty cool. She never really left, but like right proper FWT. So that's exciting. Some news here breaking on the free ride guide. Back on our first episode of the season, which is pretty sweet. What we do it, we can. how
Yeah.
how we're able to do it. I think that's mirrors the FWT itself. So you've we're at the junior championships in Austria. You've made your way over to Spain. You're in Baqueira right now. We've got some news in between the time I recorded the episode and I went to sleep, and now we've got some fresh, brand new news from the FWT. The event has been confirmed for Friday, which is if you're out on the Pacific Northwest like myself, it's going to be I think about 12:30 on Thursday or Friday morning. So Thursday nighttime, Friday officially Friday morning at about 12:30 is when the live stream will be on freerideworldtour.com. And they have a new face as well. So we were on the Bassiver face last couple of years. And we've talked about that amazing, it's kind of like a little amphitheater perfectly set up for viewing. and there was like probably 15, 20,000 people there when I was there that year. So this year, brand new face. It's more of a backcountry zone, and there's no live crowd, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's in the Baqueira Valley, but it's a little far out of the resort to get the heaving crowds to. Called La Bamba after Aymar Navarro. He's a pioneer in this area and an absolute king in the Val d'Aran. So it's going to be brand new. They put some pictures of it on their social media. It's insane. It's huge. I haven't seen it yet. Face check is tomorrow, so everybody's gonna go up and check it out and see. But it's yeah, I think it's got the possibility to really level the playing field out for some of the rookies who haven't been on the best of her face. So it's gonna be really interesting, and it's gonna be a hot start for the Region Two rookies that have never done visual inspection before because it is big.
Really? Oh, right. Well, that's exciting. And you haven't seen it in person yet, but you just seen some photos
Yeah, exactly. They had some photos in the riders meeting last night, and a lot of gasping. Like whoa. So I think it's gonna be
because
awesome.
it's like specific features or potential or like sheer
I think just
volume,
the
like
size of it.
size. Oh,
Yeah,
it's
just
huge.
just volume. Yeah, it's huge and it looks like really exciting. There's millions of features to choose from. So the line scoping is going to be critical for these riders, but I think it's going to put on a really good show.
Do you see this as being more of a see this face as more catering to more of a free ride or a freestyle kind of day?
Well, I mean, bear in mind that I'm only operating off of photos.
Right.
But what my hot take on it from the beginning is it's going to be the most well-rounded riders that are going to succeed because it's really steep and gnarly at the top. And there's a ton of like true big mountain free ride terrain. And then it goes into this big series of rolling benches down lower that all have cliffs on them. Um, hopefully some big windlips that'll shape up for the more styly of the free. And so I think it's going to be the well-rounded riders that are able to put down the spectacular show on this thing because I don't think
Uh
you can be one or the other here.
Excellent. Excellent. I'll read the press release that they put out this morning. Unfortunately, due to the remote nature of La Bamba, named after Aymar Navarro, the event will not be accessible to the public. This decision was made to prioritize safety for both athletes and spectators. However, because we know the spectators there get rowdy. However, fans can still watch all the action live via the official FWT broadcast, which I mentioned, or head to the Pla de Beret and Baqueira Beret, where the competition will be shown on a maxi screen for an immersive viewing experience. I think that's going to be bonkers. If everybody's
Yeah, I
going
think you're right.
if everybody's going into town to like a square to watch this, like seeing what happened live, that's I think that's going to be insane.
Yeah, I think so. I think they're gonna get real fired up for it. Hopefully it'll have Spanish football vibes where people are all gathered together to watch it together. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it,
I
and
don't
and I honestly can't wait to see what the riders are gonna put together on this thing.
I don't doubt it. All right. Well, that's what's happening. Bakira Friday. Live coverage begins at 9:45 CET, which is about 12:45 Pacific Coast time, and it would be 1:45 Mountain time. So a lot of you may just want to get up and watch it in the morning or on your lunch break at work on Friday, because this Friday you're not getting anything done anyways. Might as well watch some good skiing and snowboarding action. Um, Before we get moving on, we want to talk about the season. So, this episode was kind of the setup, and then we want to get everybody here ready for the season. We still have our athletes episode coming up, where we're going to talk about all the wild cards. We're going to talk about the rookies. We're going to talk about returning riders. So don't worry, folks, that's still coming. We're going to do a deep dive because there's a lot to talk about there. So that's going to come. The next episode after this one will most likely be the event recap. And so that's what you can look forward to. So we have a couple more episodes coming up in the next week or so here. Um, And I want to talk about quickly heading into this event. So, um, there's a couple. So, free as you mentioned with Capel, that's the best time for the juniors to happen because there's so much going on. Like free ride scat calendar across the globe kind of really kicks off like this week. Um, the FWT had their first challenger event yesterday. So we'll talk about that a little bit more in depth, maybe during the wildcard episode. But in the past, the Challenger Tour, as you know, is the kind of feeder tour into the FWT, and those FWT riders that don't make the cut get dropped back down to the Challenger, and everybody battles there to get back on the tour. In the past, it's been 3 events in Region 1 and 3 events in Region 2. Well, this year in Region 1, being Europe, Oceania, they actually have 6 events. So they've actually created the challengers as not really so much as a series to get back on the tour, but like a full independent tour of itself.
Yeah, yeah, it's it was a product of late season snow conditions in Europe the last couple of years where they were really struggling to get some of those events off. So they've pivoted to this new system, as you said. It's kind of a pro-am, like the step below the tour, but it's its own standalone thing. In Region 2, opted not to go that route and keep the system the same, so that those cut tour riders still have access to the challengers at the end of the season. We don't really have a problem with snow in March in North America. Typically, that's kind of the best time of the year.
Yeah.
Um,
And they've got
and
events, and they've got like Arapahoe Basin has been added to the list. We'll go over that full list. I don't have it all the notes in front of me. We'll go over that list, but I just wanted to let people know that hey, there's a lot going on. We're going to cover that. Another event, and that kind of leads me into this part. There's another event that just happened, the Non-Backcountry Invitational, which usually happens at around this time, which is wild. It's kind of I guess a hybrid backcountry slope style event with big booters and cheese wedges cut into the side of the hill. And the reason we're bringing this up is because uh, some pretty impressive feats of strength just went down at these things.
yeah,
Um,
big time.
yeah, so Astrid Shalus, who is back on the FWT this year, was invited, and she threw down the first women's double backflip in competition, quickly followed by Mila De La Rue of the De La Rue clan. She, I guess, in reverse to like, I guess when we grew up, all of our parents made us start skiing and then all the kids started snowboarding. Well, her parents are quite possibly the best snowboarder. Her dad and uncle are quite possibly two of the best snowboarders of all time. And she's like, I'm going to go skiing. So I think she's really kind of make her way and put her own stomp on things. See how I like that instead of stomp. So she threw a big double backflip, and then we had Jake Mueller on the men's ski side threw a triple backflip in
Yeah,
competition.
the progression in that event is insane. The everybody's just really going for it, and they've got powder to land in and these perfect takeoffs. So as you said, yeah, Jake doing a triple in competition, 2 women did stomping double backflips. Timo Rochhoven did a dub cork 10. Like it was insane. So for Timo and for Astrid, that's got to be pretty confidence inspiring coming into the first tour stop to be coming off that high of just blowing everyone's minds. And yeah, for Mila, I mean, Mila's 1 year out of juniors, right? So she's really just getting started. And so to I think that was the first one she'd done on snow too. She's done it into airbags, but I don't know that she's done one on snow. So very impressive from those riders. That Nanda backcountry freestyle um is just it's such a sick event, and the riders love it.
It's probably a sign of things to come, which is pretty exciting. So we'll have to see what Astrid can do off a natural takeoff to see if she can transfer that to that natural takeoff. Now she knows she can do it. We'll see what happens. So that's I just wanted to bring that up because I think this season's going to be kind of brought up to yet another level. We have a lot of uh, developments with the athletes that have had dropped out and have also been added um, with regards to injuries and then wild card replacements. Like I said, we'll be getting to that We'll be getting to that in the Wildcards Athletes and episode. So getting back on track here. I think we are set up for a pretty spectacular event. I know you got to get rolling. I just wanted you to come in and get checked in, say hi to everybody. And before we do, we want to get you all. This is the call to action. There's two bits of business here. One, we want you to join our Fun Bet League once again. It's basically Freeride Fantasy. You can find that on the freerideworldtour.com website. And right up in the menu, you can go hit up Fun Bet. And when you're there, sign up and then go to leagues and write in the Freeride Guide Podcast League. Because we're going to get people that are listening to the show to play along with us. And basically, you get to choose who you think is going to win the events. First, second, and third in all 4 categories. And it's good times. Derek and I don't do well. So you can... So you guys listening can see if you think you know better than us. Well, you might, and this is your chance to prove it. So go to the Peak Performance Fun Bet, go to the Freeride Guide Podcast League and join the league. I think up to 200 people can join. I think we had like 60 the last couple of years. And this year we'll try and be a little bit. I think I missed 1 or 2 last year, so we're going to do our best to.
Yeah, we're going to do better.
Yeah, we're going to do better. And then we also want you to join us on the show. We want your input. So we want you guys to be part of the show, and we want you to call into the backslap line. So this is the opportunity for, email right now. We don't have a phone call. We don't have a phone line set up, maybe in the future. But if we missed on a take, if we blew it or we nailed it, or you have an opinion or a thought that we haven't covered yet, we want you to send in an email, and there's a good chance we will read it online. As you can see by our fancy hats here, we have some Freeride Guide merch in the works. These are our test pieces, but we're going to have some cool stuff very similar to this. So we will be possibly sending out some merch for people that get their emails read on the show. And then we'll also have some stuff available for sale. So moving forward, the email is backslap at freerideguidepodcast.com. Backslap at freerideguidepodcast.com. And there you can give us your opinions, your notes, your thoughts, your glowing praise, whatever it is. That's where you can get in touch with us, and we could potentially read one of your emails on the show. So, Derek, I know it's like 5 o'clock there for you right now?
Yep, 6
o'clock. It's time for food, and I think you've got probably a million meetings because, as always, you will be on the microphone. We'll be hearing your voice once again, yelling, "Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Freeride World Tour 2025. Thanks for checking in there, bud. I'll get back to it. And for those of you listening, if you haven't, make sure you're subscribed or you're following along on your favorite podcast app. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well, because it really helps us, and we want to help continue build this community of you wonderful Freeride fans. All right, Derek, you got any last words?
No, I'm just so excited that this is all starting again. We're back on the roller coaster, and it's so much fun. Really looking forward to seeing what these riders are going to do in Spain and all season long. Yeah, it's gonna be a show. Make sure you tune in. Don't miss a second of it.
Fantastic. All right, buddy, I'll let you get to it, and we will talk to you folks sooner than you think.